Hi everyone. I'm trying to sneak away to a quiet space right now, but of course you can still hear my dog outside barking. Um, so one of the reasons why I'm doing a video today is because I've had a few people over the past 6 months since my channel started asking us some questions that I never really got around to because I do get nervous on camera. I decided to do a small little packet. I wrote some information down, some of the questions that people are asking. Some of the people are asking like more about my family's history, like our roots, where my husband and I have met, and some information as far as like our family history. And some people are asking about the move. And some people are asking about what steps it took to actually get out here physically, what steps it took as far as the pets as well too. So we'll probably be covering a couple of different topics over the next few videos. And I haven't forgot, I do owe you guys the pigs and the other chickens as well too, but we're working on creating a larger enclosure for the pigs because they are definitely well outgrowing their little enclosures is what we'll say. So we're working on that, and that will be coming soon as well too. So I guess I'll start with my introduction here. My name's Anita. My husband's name is Sean. We are high school sweethearts. We met many years before we started dating through his sister, who was my best friend at the time. And we started dating in the year 2000. We got married in 2005. We now have two children that are teenagers, a 14-year-old and a 16-year-old named Miley and Logan. We moved out here from the United States to Terceira Island, Azores, which is in Portugal. Not very many people are familiar with that area, but it's basically almost like smack dab in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, an island paradise. I believe the Azores consist of 9 islands, volcanic islands, again, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, part of Portugal. So a little bit about my, more into my introduction. We moved to the islands with our 2 kids and our pets as well. We have 2 dogs, 2 chihuahuas named Mako and Ang, and they did travel with us, and I will get more into that information, what it took to get them out here and the experience of them actually going on the flight with us as well too. We will be talking about that possibly in a different video. So I wanted to get into why we started the YouTube channel, and that was really more to share with my family longer videos of us out here on the islands and our adventures and things like that. Sometimes with certain platforms or apps on the telephone, long distance, things like that, you can only send like 1 minute, 2 minute videos. And I wanted to be able to share with them longer videos and show them a little bit more than just a minute or 2 here and there. And so that was very helpful with my close family members and some of our family and friends. And so yeah, we both left pretty good jobs to pursue our dreams out here in Portugal. And that is one of the questions too that some people were asking is, where do you see your future? What brought on the move and things like that. And we'll be covering most of that today. So one other thing that I wanted to talk a little bit about as far as the YouTube channel goes is that my husband and I knew for 3 years that we were going to be moving to the Azores Islands before we actually moved to the islands. And I swear it was almost like every single day, any chance that we got, we were using a lot of our free time searching, watching other people's YouTube channels, watching documentaries and things like that. And there's really not that much stuff out there. And so if we can help expose the islands and add a little bit more education to the islands and the history and things like that, then that's, fulfilling one of our goals. Is because I remember being that person that's searching for information and and not really being able to come across a lot. And so if I can provide a little bit of extra knowledge to viewers and to people out there, then and expose these islands, because there's not much known honestly about them. Not You don't know how many times I told people, yeah, I'm moving to the Azores Islands, and they're like, where is that? They had no clue where the islands were. And honestly, if I wasn't with my husband, I probably wouldn't really know much information about them either. But that leads us into talking a little bit more about, I wrote myself some notes here. The reason for the move. There's, of course, multiple reasons why you would just pack up your entire family, your dogs, and move to a completely different country, literally across the entire world, in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, on an island somewhere. You know, it's like, I see why people are asking that is because, you know, that's very rare. It's not very many people would want to do that or have done that in the past before. So I would say, we'll talk about our future vision as well too, because that was one of the questions, but we have already a connection to the islands. My husband was born here on Terceira Island. I think he moved with his family back to the United States when he was only like 2 years old. But his dad was also born here on Terceira Island, and his mom was born on Piku. So we have a very close connection to the islands. And so he has like what they call dual citizenship or duo citizenship, which is making it much more convenient as far as getting our citizenship goes, and making sure the kids are going to get their citizenship as well too. Another one of the reasons, okay, so I want to make sure I'm not forgetting anything here, but my husband's parents were already planning on moving back home to the islands again, because my father-in-law was born here, and they've lived here before in the past. That's how my husband was born here. They came back in around the time of the earthquake, which was like 1980 or so. They were living here during that time that they had a big earthquake. But yeah, they were already planning on moving back to the islands. And so that kind of opened the door for us as well too, is being able to come over here a little bit more smoothly, because they speak Portuguese and they can do a lot of help us, at least with a lot of the translating. And there is a lot of people speak English on the islands, but when you start going into the more business type stuff, as far as getting your citizenship, getting the kids enrolled in school and stuff like that, it is a little bit more helpful to have somebody who does speak Portuguese. And so we also want to talk, okay, so that was kind of reason one and reason two. We have a connection to the islands, and that my in-laws, my husband's parents were already planning on moving out here as well too. So number three would probably have to be the opportunity to work for ourselves. With my husband's dad, you know, being born here, they have banana tree property that has been in the family for many years. And one of the opportunities was for us to be able to come out here and help take care of that banana tree property to earn income out here. As far as the banana trees, that is one of our goals, was to be able to have our future goals as husband and wife and as our family, was to have like a homestead. We started really getting into gardening during the COVID time, and we were growing a lot of our own fruits and vegetables. Excuse me. And, you know, talking and planning on goals in the future and things like that. We wanted to be able to have some chickens and, you know, a few farm animals here and there, and create our own semi or full homestead. And so that helps moving to the islands gets us closer to that goal of ours for the future. So again, back to the kids, we do have a 14-year-old and we have a 16-year-old. They were 13 and 15 at the time of the move. And this also opens the door, and it gives our kids a little bit more opportunity than they would be able to have in the United States. First things first, as far as the kids go, we will talk about safety. I'm going to try to reposition my camera here, because the light's coming in through the window. Again, I had to sneak away to a quiet space here in my bedroom. So, we'll talk about safety. Let's go there first. Okay. Safety. Okay. So, I didn't know exactly how many countries there were, but I knew there was well over 100 countries. I looked it up today, and there's 196 countries in this world, on this planet. As far as safety goes, one being the safest and 196 being the least safest countries. we'll talk about that. Portugal is number 6 on that list, in the top 6 for being safest countries to live in. Where we came from, the United States, that's sadly at 129. So you can only imagine the fear that my children would experience on a daily basis going to school in America. It's if you don't want to hear this, just maybe fast forward a little bit, but they would tell me that they would come home from school, and if they heard like a loud bang happen at school, how they would be nervous the entire rest of the day because they don't know if it's going to be something really, really traumatic. They said that every time the classroom door opened, they would, turn around and get more anxious and get anxiety, worrying about who's going to be coming in through that classroom door. I couldn't imagine. When I was in school, all we had was the events that happened at Columbine. Now it's almost like a daily occurrence, sadly, that this is happening in the United States. So safety for our kids, let's go ahead and just move that one to the very top of the list. Honestly, that's where that one should be. Safety for the kids, but also for their future. Moving to a completely different country opens the door for them as far as travel and travel expenses. Right now, if you travel from Lisbon to Rome, I believe it's less than $150 if you travel from again, Lisbon to Rome. So that makes it traveling around Europe a lot less costly than if you have to go all the way across the United States and then come over here and travel in Europe. It also gives them the opportunity to learn a new language, and that's something that I never did when I was in school. I should have focused a little bit more on it. You can either take Spanish or French in school, and if I had learned Spanish, it would have been a lot easier for me to learn Portuguese. But that's something that I regret, and I wanted to be able to give my children the opportunity to submerge themselves in a different culture and learn and truly pick up and learn a different language and be bilingual. So I wanted to touch base one thing too, as far as safety, with having a teenage daughter in the United States. She doesn't go walking at night by herself. She wasn't allowed to take the trash out by herself at night. Even sometimes during the day, I didn't feel safe enough to have her take the trash out, because literally every single time that she did it, she was catcalled by somebody. And so being out here, I don't think she's ever once been catcalled. Seriously. I don't have the fear of her walking to the bus stop in the morning before the sun comes up. Technically my children are in a completely different house. They stay in the condo right below us. We treat it as one, but their bedrooms are technically in a different house that is not connected through the inside. You have to walk out one front door to get to the other front door. Again, they're right by each other, but and my son's down there, who's like 6'1" and over 200 pounds. And so if anybody did come in, I'm comfortable knowing that, there's a big man down there basically. But I really don't worry about it. She doesn't worry about it. I don't even think that during the day we lock our doors. I mean, we don't even lock our doors at night, honestly. When we're gone, we lock up the house. But I think that might not even be necessary, honestly. And so those are some of the reasons as far as the kids go. Just being able to get them, to a safe place, giving them opportunities to travel, giving them an opportunity to speak a new language, giving them an opportunity to have a different idea of what a career is and what a career is supposed to be like. You're supposed to have your life and then your career. Your career should not consume all of you. And I wanted them to be able to move to a place where people don't say, what do you do for a living? And that's part of meeting somebody. I want them to know, what are your hobbies? What are your interests? What are your likes? Not what you do for a paycheck, basically. But I would say the last thing on the list, and there's many more positive reasons as to why we moved to this beautiful island paradise. I am 39 and my husband is 41. I'm almost 40. He's almost 42. But for me, in my case, to be able to retire or semi-retire at earlier than 40 is pretty incredible. And in my opinion, you would have to be someone pretty stupid to pass up an opportunity, because I feel that we in the United States, we work our entire lives to do that, to go and retire on an island paradise somewhere and have your own little homestead with your little white picket fence, and live out the rest of your days. Well, why shouldn't I be able to do that at an earlier age? Why shouldn't we? Why live your whole life until you're over the age of 60 to do that, when I'm having the opportunity to do that 20, 25, maybe 30 years in advance? So for me personally, that was a huge factor as well too, is being able to pretty much retire out here. My husband does most of the work, the farming work, which we will get into that as well too. The cost of living is a huge factor. Let me give you a breakdown of a few, let's say, utilities, if you will. We are renting out here just like we were in San Diego, but eventually we're going to buy a house, and we do have some hopes and dreams to be able to maybe rent one of the houses out as a rental here on the islands, or even have like an Airbnb or something like that. But our first goal out here is to buy a house. We will be buying a house. But the cost of living, we lived in a mid-class apartment, 3-bedroom apartment in San Diego, and we were paying a little, I would say probably about $2,300, a little over $2,300, because we did have the 2 pets. Out here, now, mind you, you have to take the exchange rate into consideration. The euro out here is pretty close to the dollar in the United States. So our rent out here for our, mind you, we have 2 condos, the downstairs condo, the upstairs condo, but altogether it equals a 3-bedroom. That is $500. Okay, so mind you, again, going from $2,300 to $500. I mean, you're looking at almost 1/5 of the cost of rent in the United States, and at least in San Diego where we were staying. The power bill, or the electric bill, the electricity, we went from, depending on the summer months out there in San Diego, winter would probably be around $230, summertime as high as $500. Now, mind you, the summertime out there isn't a 3-month span. It's like 9 to 10 months out of the year that you're paying $500 in power, basically. We're not light on our power either. We're gamers. All of us are on our electronics a lot. Laptops, PlayStations, TVs, things like that. So that you could, if you wanted to, for a family of 4, take that down if you wanted to. And now we're paying about $65, and that was $65 in the summer, and now we're in the winter and it's still roughly around $65, because you don't really need to run air conditioning. We're either running a small heater in the winter time or a fan in the summertime. The internet and phone, I combined the 2 bills out there. We were paying internet and cable and the landline inside the house separately from our cell phones. But here they're combined. And so I ended up combining the 2 costs out there were $510. The cost out here is $110. And honestly, the internet is better. And there's no complaints as far as the cell phone service goes. So to be able to take that down $400 a month is pretty incredible. Out there, we weren't paying gas. Everything was powered by electricity. So that's something to take into consideration. But when we did live in a rental that required gas, we were paying in between $60 to $70 a month. And now we're paying roughly $18 a month. I think the exchange rate is to the euro 90 cents or something like that right now. So every euro equals 90 cents on the dollar, basically. And so I just wanted to kind of break the cost of living. So the cost of living is number 5 on the list because of that. A lot of the food is less expensive, but because we do live on an island, a lot of the food is also pretty compatible. The cost of butter is pretty compatible. There are some things that are pretty close, but most of the food, most of the groceries, you're paying a lot less than you would in the United States as well, too. I don't have dollar for dollar breakdown on that just yet, but I could if you guys wanted. So one of the viewers asked us what our future vision was out here on the islands, and I would say that's really just to live and to be happy. We are partners. My husband is partners with his parents and his siblings in the farming business, and we hope to have that continue to grow. We hope to create our homestead, our goal that we created before we had even moved to the islands. We, hope for our children to continue to be safe and have that opportunity to learn a new language and to be able to travel wherever they want to, wherever their hearts desire in the future. I don't plan on leaving, and my husband doesn't plan on leaving. So this is home from now on. We hope to continue to establish roots here on the islands, and share our experiences with you guys, really, to add some knowledge and education about the islands, and add some exposure to the islands as well too, from the United States and other places as well too. So I would say that pretty much concludes our video for today. I do plan on making a video about, okay, so 6 months prior, we knew we were going to be moving 3 years before we moved. But 6 months prior to moving is when we really cracked down and started doing all of our planning and things like that. So I plan to make a video going over, because again, per request, the steps that we took, and how many months out prior to the move that we started to plan and actually organize the move itself. Because again, moving all the way from the United States, bringing our 2 children and our 2 dogs, and I'll touch base on, we did bring our car as well too, and how we got our car over here as well too, and some of our personal items from the United States in a shipping container. And then another separate video, I will be doing the pets, and what's required for the pets, because that can get kind of tricky. Flying with them, layover flights, things like that. I will talk a little bit about my experience, and if that helps you guys, then that would be awesome, because if I can ease some of your stress as far as you bringing your pets with you over here, I would like to be able to do that, because I think that was one of the most stressful things in regards to the actual move, was making sure that our pets were safe and making sure that they had everything, the documentation and everything that they needed to move over here. So there will be a few videos coming here in the future. I might actually record some of it today as well too. So stay tuned for more. I hope that answers a lot of your guys' questions about the family, a little bit about our past, our history, and what our reason for our move, and the goals that we have out here on Terceira Island, Azores, Portugal. Bye for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification button if you are interested in more.